Have you ever looked at your paycheck and thought, where did it all go? Not after a shopping spree, not after a wild weekend, just gone. The bills are paid, the groceries are bagged, and you've got a few subscriptions you definitely forgot existed. Maybe you grabbed coffee on the way in because you were running late, again. And now it's the 27th. Your account balance looks anemic, and you're waiting for payday like it's a rescue helicopter hovering over a sinking ship. Here's the strange part. Most people look at that feeling and diagnose it as an income problem. If I just made more, I'd finally get ahead. But that's not it. That's the lie we tell ourselves to avoid looking at the math of our daily habits. Becoming wealthy doesn't start with a bigger number on your W-2. It starts with 5 monthly decisions that almost nobody gets excited about. Why? Because they don't look impressive on Instagram. No flashy cars, no 4 a.m. grind selfies. Just quiet, almost boring redirects of cash that slowly change the gravitational pull of your financial life. Until one day, people assume you got lucky. You didn't. You just stopped spending every dollar on today and started buying pieces of your future. But here's the brutal psychological twist. Behavioral economists call it hyperbolic discounting. It's a fancy term for a very stupid brain glitch. We value the comfort of right now exponentially more than the security of later. If I offer you $20 today or $25 next week, most people take the $20. Now stretch that over 30 years. That's why people finance vacations but delay investing. That's why they buy a phone worth 3 months of savings but hesitate to put $100 into an index fund. Your brain isn't broken. It's just designed to survive the jungle, not optimized for a retirement portfolio. So if you're going to build wealth, you aren't just fighting inflation. You're fighting your own nervous system. Let's talk about the first redirect. The big one. Ownership. Let's run the numbers on 2 people. Person A has $500 a month. They upgrade their lifestyle, better car lease, nicer dinners, that gadget they don't really need. Person B has the same $500. They buy broad market index funds, just the boring ones, 30 years, 10% average annual return. Person B's balance hits roughly $1 million. Person A? They have a closet full of clothes they barely wear and a faint memory of a really good steak. Here's the irony. Person B feels poorer in the beginning. They're constantly saying no. They're the ones skipping the group trip. They feel deprived. But decades later, they're buying their freedom while everyone else is still financing appearances. But let's get to the second investment, because this one is the most misunderstood. Buy back your time. Look, this sounds backwards. Paying someone to clean your house, automating tasks you can do yourself. It feels elitist. It feels like wasting money. But you're making a critical error in your math. If you earn $30 an hour after taxes, and you spend 4 hours every Saturday doing a task you could outsource for $50, you are effectively paying yourself $12.50 an hour. You aren't saving money. You're quietly making yourself poorer. The wealthy ask a different question. Not, how much does this cost? But, what does this free me to do? When you buy back 4 hours a week, you aren't just buying leisure. You're buying the energy to learn, to rest, to build. And time, unlike cash, has a compounding effect that spreadsheets can't capture, because eventually, life isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in hours you actually got to live. Now we get to the third investment, the one that stings the most. Your skills. Unlike the stock market, your earning power doesn't crash because investors got nervous. It only crashes when you stop learning. Let's look at Sarah. She earns $50,000 a year. She spends $150 a month on courses, books, certifications, and networking. Nothing dramatic, no motivational speeches, just consistent curiosity. 5 years later, she's making $80,000. That's $30,000 more a year for the rest of her working life. Because of investments, most people shrugged off as too expensive. Funny, isn't it? People think nothing of financing a luxury car that loses 20% of its value the moment they drive it off the lot. But they'll hesitate to invest in knowledge that permanently increases their ceiling. Your income follows your value, and your value follows your skills. It's the one asset nobody can wake up tomorrow and take away from you. And the fourth investment? The one nobody wants to talk about because it's painfully boring? Your safety net, emergency savings. Honestly, this feels like buying insurance for a fire you're sure won't happen. Nobody posts a screenshot of a fully funded emergency account on their story. But do you know what's even less exciting? Going into debt because your transmission failed, or your roof leaked, or your kid had an unexpected medical bill. Without cash reserves, an emergency is a disaster. With cash reserves, it's just an inconvenience. Financial stress isn't caused by low income, it's caused by having zero margin for error. Margin doesn't just buy you peace of mind, it buys you optionality. It lets you walk away from a toxic job. It lets you wait for the market to bounce back instead of selling at the worst possible moment. It's the oxygen mask on the airplane. You hope you never use it, but if the cabin depressurizes, it's the only thing that matters. And finally, the fifth investment. The one people consistently undervalue because it's soft, messy, and impossible to track on a spreadsheet. Relationships. Before you roll your eyes and think we've wandered into self-help territory, stay with me. Opportunities travel through people, jobs, business partnerships, mentorship, clients, recommendations. Investing monthly in relationships doesn't mean buying expensive dinners for strangers. It means buying lunch for someone smarter than you. It means attending an industry event, even when you're tired, calling an old friend without needing a favor. These moments rarely produce instant results, but months or years later, someone remembers your name when a golden opportunity appears. Networks aren't built during emergencies, they're built long before. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't appreciate it the day you plant it. You appreciate it decades later when it finally provides shade. The wealthiest people aren't just rich in capital, they're rich in social equity. They have a Rolodex of people who trust them. Look at these 5 things: ownership, time, skills, safety, relationships. Notice what we didn't mention? Not a single get-rich-quick scheme. No crypto moonshots, no meme stocks, because wealth doesn't grow where you can see it. It grows underground, like the roots of a bamboo tree. For years, you water it and see almost nothing above ground. Then suddenly, it shoots up incredibly fast. People think the growth happened overnight. It didn't. The roots were simply growing where nobody could see them. Every month, whether you realize it or not, you're already investing. You're either investing in your future or you're investing in someone else's profits. You're buying assets or you're buying liabilities. The money leaves your account either way. The only difference is the direction it travels. Waiting just 10 years to start doesn't cost you $60,000. It costs you well over $1.5 million in lost compound growth. That's the hidden math. Time doesn't just add wealth, it multiplies it. So the next time your paycheck lands in your account, before you ask what you can buy today, ask yourself the question that changes everything. What version of my future am I about to pay for?